clear tonight, 50 for a low, and a chance of rain starting Sunday night, continuing through Thursday of this next week. But today and tomorrow, looking good.
And good morning. You are tuned right here to the root of it on KLYC 1260 AM. I'm Kyle Hunter, and we have a host returning. Ray Van Blaricum is back. Isn't that good? That's that's good to hear, right?
Yeah, it's good to be back too. Although I did thoroughly enjoy a total irresponsible runaway. Yeah. I have no qualms about it.
For those who are unaware and have been listening to us since the beginning of the year,
which does include me. I listened.
Right, exactly. Ray normally started the program with me and has been the host, but he's been away for 5 months doing retired things that retired people do, and so he's been traveling around the country, mostly in the Southwest. But he has returned, and he has some stories. And he has some things that have happened. But because, we opened the show with the weather, why don't we talk about just briefly the weather that you had experienced? Because we hear on the news that particularly Southern California, it's horribly dry there.
It is. It's scary dry. Right. There's a stretch along I-5 there south of Stockton where there's these mountains of trees that they've just taken it like a D9 cat with a big brush blade on it, right, and just pulled the trees up, roots, guts, feathers, and all. Yeah. Stacked them in piles, and for 50 miles, you see these little black hoses sticking up out of the desert sand. Really? Which was the drip irrigation system for like the almond trees and the pistachio trees. Anyway, they're going to be damn expensive come Christmas time.
They are really going to be expensive. Yeah, I saw a news piece on that, and they're well. Here's my thing about the watering and all of that. It's moving the water from one geographical area to the rest of the world. It's making the groundwater go away. So they've got perfect soil for growing these perfect almonds to sell to Asia and all of these things. But it takes a lot of water to make these almonds.
95% of the almonds in the world come from this one little stretch of valley there.
Right. So all of that, those little pods of water are being transported elsewhere and not getting put back down into the ground.
That's a fairly open-minded approach to that whole thing, because down there they're really cranky. There's big signs like 2 8-foot sheets of plywood wide with vulgar things written on them right alongside I-5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are they against? They want their water, right?
Everybody wants the water they used to use.
Right.
And now that it's no longer in the 500-foot deep wells, those are dry.
Those are deep.
Now they're down to the 2,000-foot deep wells, and they got to share. Mm-hmm. And people need to sell product to pay for digging the well, and then it's cranky.
And well, it should be. This has been forecasted all my life. I can fairly say
it's no secret that it was coming.
Right, and this is worst drought, 1,000-year drought, whatever. This is the bad time. You look at a time lapse photo. It's like watching, like if you have a garden hose and you fill a hole up in your garden, just watching it evaporate. Yeah. You can watch a time lapse photo of California's water just evaporating, and just
the big red spots that used to be just around Fresno is now the whole valley red. Yeah, and it's also up in the mountains. They got no snow. When we were coming back, coming up 395 from Reno, we decided to take off on this little road, Highway 139, and it's a black line. It's not a red line, it's not a yellow line. It's a black line. Okay. But it was really straight. Okay. So we thought, what the heck? We just jump off on this road and see where the hell it goes. Where the heck it goes.
Right.
Yeah, I got to get my radio polite voice back.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, go on.
Anyway, we get out there, and on the map are these pictures of lakes with names: Honey Lake, Stag Lake. You know, you get to where that lake should have been, and it's just a big tan field of sand.
Just a line of where lake was.
Nothing in it.
Wow.
And the snow level is like up about 8,000 on a good day, up to about 9,000. So if you got
there's nothing.
If you got no 9,000-foot mountains, you got no snow.
The precursor. So what you're
And
saying
your
is
lake is dry.
they just need to build bigger mountains in California.
We need bigger mountains and more lakes.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's turn this back to weather here,
Yeah.
because we are having weather here.
Yeah.
And it is it's affecting my planting schedule and the things that I have to do in my own garden. So we were supposed to get some kind of rain or some moisture earlier. So this weekend was predicted earlier last week. Was supposed to be a little bit wetter than it is. It's currently dry because
it's gorgeous.
Right, because there was a low pressure cell that was expected over Nevada that was going to kick back up in here.
Yeah.
It didn't do that.
No, it went to Florida.
It went to Wyoming, Montana, and Colorado.
It went
out of the
it
way.
went to Oklahoma and is creating all sorts of heck.
Yeah, that's right. Because you get the
Yeah.
the warm moisture from
Yeah,
the
it
Gulf,
went-
and then this cool thing pushing it. Bam.
Should have come back and gave us some thunder showers. Instead, it went to Oklahoma and just blew the state away
Yeah. So
and drowned it.
So this weekend we've got a nice dry, mild to warm weekend, and it is going to be. We're looking at 75 here in McMinnville right now, and it's 9 o'clock. See, if back in my Arizona days, that meant that it was going to get to be 110.
Yeah.
But here it's going to be to 80, 82, 80, high of 82ish.
I'm okay with it. I actually, I can go ahead and take enough clothes to show you.
You got your shorts.
Yeah,
You got your shorts
I got
on.
my concrete beach tan. Laying out there with the rest of the old people.
I did notice that about myself. Is I've got the farmer's tan going. I've got the darker face and the arms, but then I take the shirt off and just paste.
Oregon ecru. That's what it is.
Is that what that is?
That's what it is. It's Oregon ecru.
All right.
Yeah, when you first go down to the pool and these old cougars been laying on the concrete now for like 3 months, and they're just brown as a crayon.
That sounds dangerous, having cougars laying around where you are. Okay.
They're poised. They know who the new meat is because they're white. You reflect off the water. They all put their sunglasses on to kill the glare.
Oh my gosh, that is good information to
Yeah.
know. That is funny. Okay, so tomorrow is going to be mostly cloudy, which, if you weren't here, it was predicted to be actually rainy. So Mother's Day was going to be a horrible,
it's going to be
typical
okay tomorrow.
But tomorrow we just got mostly cloudy.
Yeah, it's going to be actually cloudy. And come take Mom out for breakfast day.
Is that what you do?
No.
Okay, good.
No, we have a very special treat this weekend. We have our little granddaughter coming down from Seattle, and we're going to enjoy someone who is just now learning to walk.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Only
Yeah,
time
yeah,
before
yeah.
they start talking back.
Yeah.
But then a big change, huge change on Monday.
Yep.
Huge change. We've got 59 degrees, but with the chance of rain. So we're going back down into my dangerous powdery mildew weather.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start putting more clothes on, I can tell you that.
Yeah, because we're going to go back down into
Layer
the
up.
lows, the lows of 45 at night, 44, mid 40s, but we're still creeping up. We're not down into those lower 40s and those upper 30s anymore. I think. Can we safely say? Not safely say. Can we? Frost chances might be gone.
They're getting pretty slim.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and go over to the community garden and buy all kinds of vegetables and tomatoes and squash and cucumbers and perennials and annuals. They still got a good selection over there.
Mm-hmm.
They start selling them at 10 o'clock this morning.
And community gardens over on Burnett and that other
West Side
street.
Road.
West Side Road. Thank you.
Yeah.
And but we've got chance of rain pretty much for the rest of the week, and then
Spring.
next Monday, Monday after next is we start clearing up again,
Yeah, that's
predictably. So, We might even have a chance of some thunderstorms in at the end of the month.
Oh,
So-
it does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, when you say it, we're talking about the Weather Cafe by Rufus, which is located at the OVS.com website.
Oh my goodness.
And we go to him because he's really a good predictor of Pacific Northwest, and he's predicting pretty much a muggy May,
Yeah.
which for me is interesting because I predicted a this kind of day May, where everything has to be watered constantly. And here's why. I'm driving through the valley yesterday, and the fields already have their big sprinklers up. You know, the big.
Yep.
It's May. That's just absolutely unheard of. You're not even supposed to be able to get your tractor in the fields this early because they're so watered down, and they're already dry, so they've got to start watering right now. It's incredible.
The farmers who were really sharp and got things planted early are going to be rewarded, because if it does rain a little bit in May and a little bit in June, man, are they going to have fabulous crops.
Right.
Because they've got it in. They can keep the tractors out of it now.
Yeah, and actually, right there on 18, they've got a field, and they're plowing it today for their grass or the clover. I can't remember what was in it. One of those things, but they're cutting the grass fields down that have grown. So it's time. It's time. Early time. It's incredible.
I was surprised out by my friend's house in Carlton. The wheat is like 2 feet tall.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Incredible.
And the darkest green I've ever seen.
Ready to come down.
Yeah, it's ready to start heading up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So they'll have an early harvest there. And then on the other side of him, they planted barley.
Ooh, interesting.
And apparently this is for a special customer who is going to start making whiskey in Yamhill County.
Incredible.
And now they have this whole, 20-acre field of barley just for that customer.
Incredible barley.
Yeah.
I thought about growing barley once.
Yeah. Anyway.
So that is the weather that we're having. We're going to look for a muggy May.
Yep.
And so just spray that powdery mildew.
Just go ahead and plant stuff anyway.
You're planting now. I planted
Yeah.
last week, and I don't think that was early. I think I planted at just the right time because we have started warming up. Soil temperatures are staying at about a constant 50 degrees.
Well, the ground temperature is pretty consistent,
Yeah.
and that's what you need. Anything over 45 to 50 degrees is going to get you good germination. I was really surprised. I just threw a bunch of zinnia seeds in my flower pots because when I left, I mowed everything short and covered everything up with mulch, and I was going to practice the Darwinian gardening theory that we talked
Sure.
about one time, and just see what the heck came back. If it's kind of one of those, if it grows good, if it don't grow, we'll replace it.
Exactly.
And the perennials all came back gorgeous. I'm just astounded.
All you had to do was leave for 5 months.
All I had to do is just cover them up and leave. I didn't have to do nothing to them. The deer haven't even eaten them yet.
They haven't come down yet. But
Yeah.
we're going to take a break
Let's
right
take a
now
break.
because it's 9:15. But when we
Yep.
come back, we're going to talk about germinating because I have had some problems with germinating. You've
Yeah.
had some problems with germinating.
Yes,
so,
we have.
so when we come back, we will
Don't know
discuss
why.
our germinating problems. So for right now, you're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM, streaming on Facebook.com.
KLYC News, the latest from...
Severe weather, replacing prosecutor. I'm John Trout. The Central Plains are in the likely risk of possible tornadoes. Meteorologist Ivan Cabrera describes the areas of concern.
Central Texas going up into Oklahoma City, into parts of eastern Colorado, and into western Kansas as well.
Tropical storm Anna is hugging the Carolina coast. Winds are currently clocked 60 miles per hour. Attorneys for the Baltimore police officers charged in the death of Freddie Gray say State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby should be replaced. Correspondent Sarah Seidner.
They name about 5 conflicts in including that her husband's a councilman in the district, also that she has a relationship, she and her husband both, a friendship really, with the attorney that is representing Freddie Gray's family. They also say that she has some relationship with potential witnesses.
The New York Daily News reports Patriots quarterback Tom Brady will be suspended next week for his role in Deflategate. It's not known how long the ban might be. I'm John Trout. A school lunch director's been suspended, as Evan Haining reports, for serving leftovers.
Well, these leftovers were pork that had been butchered before some of the kindergartners had been born. 4- to 6-year-old meat turned up on trays in Rogersville, Tennessee. The Times News reports a new frozen food policy will expel outdated food from school freezers.
The Times News reports lunch director Mandy Kenner had been suspended without pay for 3 days after the Hawkins County, Tennessee students were served the 6-year-old meat. Jeb Bush had a health update on his father, George H.W. Bush, today.
Many of you asked this morning how he's doing, just a month shy of his 91st birthday. I'm happy to say he's in pretty good shape. And it'll stay that way if we can just keep his mind off that darn parachute.
The younger Bush gave the update while delivering the commencement address at Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. I'm John Trout.
Kid, this facility is like a ship. So how do I keep us on course without micromanaging every detail? Easy, with Grainger. Grainger's online tools help give me the visibility I need. I can shop, order, and manage all our activity. Oversee purchases, control costs, all while you guys get to order what you need when you need it. I run a tight ship, kid. I run it with Grainger. Get it? Got it? Good. Learn more at Grainger.com/online purchasing. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
To the Root of It on AM 1260 KLYC is brought to you by Recology's Northwest Greenland in McMinnville. You know, it takes more than a pile of decomposing yard debris and leaves to make your soil healthy and your plants happy. That's why Recology actively manages their compost to ensure the highest level of microbial activity. The rich soil amendments promote healthy plant life in your vineyard, your nursery, your yard, and your garden. Recology's compost, which is certified for organic growing, can enhance overall soil quality, provide plants with nutrients they need to grow larger and healthier, minimize the need for chemical fertilizers and pesticides, increase your soil's ability to hold moisture and retain nutrients, feed helpful earthworms, create a buffer for your plants against common toxins in the soil, and control pH levels and support essential bacterial growth. It's more than just compost. It's food for your soil. Northwest Greenland's a Recology company. In McMinnville at 2200 Northeast Orchard Avenue. Call Recology Northwest Greenlands at 503-434-1671. 503-434-1671. Recology Northwest Greenlands, a proud sponsor of To the Root of It on KLYC. Since their doors first opened in 1983, D&D Electrical strives to be a different kind of company. From industrial, electrical, security to communications, their answer is yes, we do that. D&D Electrical is your full-service electrical contractor. They can handle the entire job, everything from a new outlet in the bathroom to a manufacturing plant. No job is too big, no job is too small. 24-hour service with 20 full-size response vehicles and the best equipment in the industry. Big company support and small-town service 24 hours a day. 503-472-4003. Ready to go to work for you right now. D&D Electrical, McMinnville.
And good morning. You're back with To the Root of It right here on KLYC, talking about gardening because that's what we do every week. Welcome back, Ray, again.
Yeah.
And we were briefly discussing, because of the weather, some things that one of the problems when you came back was germinating seeds. And when we talk about germinating, it's just getting from seed to sprout. That's germinating.
On the back of the package, it says germinates in 7 to 14 days or something like that. And a lot of people, may or may not read that part.
Well, when we talk about the most common causes for seeds to fail to germinate, that's one of the biggest one is that people aren't reading the seed packages, and because the package itself is going to suggest proper planting times, right? It's going to because the reason that that's important specifically here in Yamhill is that we might plant too early, and so the conditions in the soil, particularly outside, might be too cold, might be too wet, and so you aren't going to get a good germination.
Well, yes, there are some things that you can plant early, peas and onions and what we call the cold weather crops. Those you put them in the ground and you don't worry about it because they, the first sunny day they go boing and then they miraculously are there. And then they just kind of drift along as possible. But on the back of the packet, one of the really important things to note is down in the bottom of underneath all the other instructions that you should have read, there's an actual expiration date for seed.
It's often written bigger than anything else that's on the back of the package. It says, packaged this year, bam.
Yeah, this thing needs to be put in the ground in 2015.
Right.
If you get a hold of some seed or somebody comes and gives you a package of seed and it says this should have been planted in 2011.
2003.
2003. I found this in my grandmother's jewelry box, that kind of stuff, You go, oh, yeah, how lovely.
Right. So the expiration, it's not the expiration, when it was, the date on the back, important.
Suggested planting season,
right,
for best results.
And that's on the back of the packet. Also, planting depth, proper spacing, and another point is the planting too deeply. This wasn't something that I was really fully aware of until recently, is you're not supposed to plant the seed more than 3 times its longest length. So stand the seed up, and for like a radish seed or some of these really horrible seeds,
you stacked
microscopic seeds, they don't go down deep. You don't need to dig a 6-inch trench, a 4-inch trench.
You can lay them on the surface and just crumble some dust over the top of them, and that's good.
Right.
Yeah, that's plenty.
And so that's a really good rule of thumb that I'm going to live by now, because when you take into account some of those Atlantic pumpkin seeds that you gave me, they're they're pretty big in themselves, an inch and a half, and so those you want to go 3 inches deep down, but they're designed to pop up. So you might not get good germination because you've put them too far down, and they don't have any energy to not only get up, but they're not enticed to get up.
Well, another one that you can really screw up and is seed potatoes.
And that's what brought us up to germination originally, wasn't it? You were having some seed germination with that.
We have some problems with, and I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with the seed potatoes that we got, and unless they maybe got, like they were on the outside of the truck and they got frozen in Canada or something. And then the ones that I got to replace them, I purposely picked a bag that made sure that every single potato had sprouted a little bit. And now we'll dust them with sulfur and put them in the ground. We'll just put the whole thing in the ground in the places where the other potatoes didn't. But there's some odd things going on. Some of the seed potato, even though they were dusted with sulfur, literally turned to like toothpaste in the soil.
I've seen that happen with mine.
Yeah. I'm not sure what really does that. I'm gonna research that.
Because it wasn't and you're using seed potato, right? It's not like you got the potato from last year's crop and cut them up and
They're
did
fresh
everything that
potatoes.
we've talked about.
They're supposed to be disease resistant, virus resistant. As well as can be anyway. And I'll be dadgum if them suckers aren't. There's some of them are just like you injected a bunch of window putty.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that and it sounds like poor seed is the probability for that, which is another reason that you don't get a good germination, and that just comes from maybe how long the seeds were stored, but if you're getting them directly from the catalog, and I did have that problem this year. I had some beans that I put them in a flat, I put them in a tray, and out of the 10 that I planted, one of them germinated. And I didn't plant them too deep. They're in just a flat tray. Yeah. Nothing happened. And it's been long enough for them to have gone through the germination process.
With a little wet towel over them and
no, this was in a flat, just
okay.
a tray with some soil in it.
Oh, okay.
And because that's a perfectly fine way to do it too, right?
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was such a poor rate that I had to email the catalog company, and they of course refunded. And fabulous about it, but you have to pay attention to kinds of things like that. It's not as though the package said anything other than this year. So poor seed.
Yeah.
But there are some things that you can do to check to see if you have poor seed. And one of those things is you can take your seed, put them in a cup of water, and you put them in there for a few minutes. It's almost like 20, 30 minutes. And the ones that sink to the bottom, A-okay, good to go.
Yeah.
The ones that float, no bueno.
No.
You got to just toss those. You might as well just toss those out.
Yeah, just scoop them off, throw them away, because there's nothing but air inside the shell.
Nothing but air.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you seeds go bad, is they crack, and all of that oil and juiciness inside just gets let out, and that's how they die. So what else do we have that causes these poor germinations?
We mentioned planting depth, and spacing is another issue. If you get them too clumped together, then they're going to just kind of crowd each other out, and they may germinate, but they're not going to make any. You got to be careful, like you mentioned, radishes. Them little devils, if you get them too close together, then when they do sprout, you got to go in and thin them out a little bit, because the radish is going to,
radishes is a root. You want it to take up space.
It's a root. You want it to take up space. You want the little green leafy things to be like an inch or two apart, so it can make a radish.
Yeah. And I can remember radish is like one of the first things that I planted when we got our property, and I would dig these 6-inch holes to plant the radish so deep down in. And
never to be seen again.
Why didn't
folks.
they come up? Why did they not come up? Must have gotten bad radish seed, but not the case. No, just putting them too deep.
I've got some experimental seed that I put in over at the community garden. It comes from like 3,000-year-old blue corn stuff.
All right. That sounds like heirloom grandfather.
Oh, it'd been heirloom for 3 millennia.
Right.
Brought up from the central Mexican highlands by the Anasazi Indians when they came up.
This sounds beautiful.
Oh, it's a long time ago. Yeah. And this was the stuff that they'd go out and they'd plant on the lava to get crops so that they could have food when they were living in northern New Mexico.
All right.
So anyway, I'm downtown Santa Fe, and this guy's giving away this blue seed. No way. And I mean, it's just as purple as a crayon.
Just like the blue chips.
Just like the dark blue chips.
Yeah.
Allegedly that's where this stuff gets turned into. So anyway, I'm gonna try. I got 2 rows of them over at the community garden, and we'll see.
May I have some seeds when you're done with this? I would like to.
I put them all in the dirt.
No. When they grow,
they
will produce
absolutely.
a cob that I would just like to have one, and then
absolutely. I'll give you several of them. You can, when they dry out, and you can make nice Thanksgiving decorations, and then you can plant them later.
Yeah, because that's actually what I did with my corn from last year. I had 2 cobs that I just let dry out, and this year, a couple of weeks ago, I put those in flats also to plant in. I'm going to plant them today because the soil temperature is good enough. So that was one of my successful germinations. I didn't realize, because I had this dry corn on the cob in a Ziploc bag on a shelf. It just doesn't. It's like, okay, no, that serves a purpose. It's gonna be used. And so picking the seeds off of this cob, it was gratifying. It's like popping plastic, plastic popper things, packaging tape, and so these things are now in the ground, and I'm going to transplant them. It's fabulous. But we also have some, and that's the important thing, is the temperature in the soil. So we actually have some convenient soil temperature things. And you were mentioning the beans. And beans, the snap beans need to be at a minimum of about 60 degrees.
Yes.
But when we talk about the cold things, we're talking about broccoli, cabbage, carrots, cauliflower, a minimum of 40 degrees. And onions are 32 degrees. The soil temperature, we're not talking about outdoor air temperatures, although that helps dictate what the soil temperature is going to be. But the soil temperature, 32 degrees, onions are like, yeah, we'll start now.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and make some roots, and and then when the sun comes out, then they go, oh, hey, cool, let's make some tops now, and then you got, they shoot right out. But
and corn is at 50 degrees, but the optimum is anywhere between 65 and 85, and that's what my mindset was, that the corn had to be at 70 degrees, the soil temperature, but not really the case.
Well, peas and spinach and some of those other what we call cool weather crops can tolerate that 35 to 45 degree ground temperature as opposed to air temperature. And they'll still germinate just fine, slowly. I mean, they're not going to come roaring up out of the frozen tundra, but they will germinate. And then you get into the warm weather crops, your melons and your cucumbers and
your muskmelons.
Your muskmelons, yeah. They need warm soil. They need as warm as possible.
Yeah, they're one of those later ones. It's 60 degrees at the soil temperature, but we're looking at an optimum of 75 to 85 degrees.
Yeah, you go get your cucumber starts, and even though they're perfectly beautiful cucumber starts, you put it in 40-degree dirt, that sucker's going to die.
Not just and I did plant some tomatoes when we were going through the colder spell. So I planted them about a month ago, put them in the soil for science, and to just see where they would be compared to the ones that I kept indoors. And the ones that I've kept indoors are standing at about 6-7 inches right now, and the ones that are outside, first of all, the leaves are purple.
Not a good sign.
But they look fine. They look healthy.
Yeah.
But they've been frozen at about 3 inches, maybe 4 inches, and they don't have the third or fourth tier of nodes that the ones inside have. But they don't look healthy. Out of the 7 that I put outdoors, 6 of them are still alive. And so, but I see the reason why putting them outdoors, there's no reason to. Like, I can keep them indoors, and they will be twice as tall when I need to put them outdoor, which is now. Which is this week.
It's time.
This week is time to put the tomatoes in. So
even though it's going to be a little cool this week, don't fear. You can. The sun will be here.
Right. This is the hardening period, right? This will be a good hardening time for those new transplants out there.
Yeah, and if you can get them in and they get a couple of days of sunlight, then the roots will start to happen, and what goes on underneath is fine.
Yeah. But like here in Yamhill County, we've got the part chance of showers, and so that doesn't always mean showers.
No. That just means that you're guaranteed it's going to sooner or later.
Eventually, at some time will.
Eventually, something's going to make wet on you.
So
even if it's a neighbor's dog.
The other thing that you want to look at is the peppers. They need a minimum of 60 degrees to germinate. And when another reason that we're talking about this, and we'll get into this more when we come back from the break.
Yeah, let's take a little break.
Is that you benefit better knowing these soil temperatures for the germination, and this is probably the last week that you want to be planting any seeds for some of these things.
We'll talk about a soil thermometer too.
Oh, well, that sounds painful. So when we come back, we will get into those things. But right now, you're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM and streaming live on Facebook.
To the Root of It on AM 1260 KLYC is brought to you by Recology's Northwest Greenland in McMinnville. You know, it takes more than a pile of decomposing yard debris and leaves to make your soil healthy and your plants happy. That's why Recology actively manages their compost to ensure the highest level of microbial activity. The rich soil amendments promote healthy plant life in your vineyard, your nursery, your yard, and your garden. Recology's compost, which is certified for organic growing, can enhance overall soil quality, provide plants with nutrients they need to grow larger and healthier, minimize the need for chemical fertilizers and pesticides, increase your soil's ability to hold moisture and retain nutrients. Feed helpful earthworms. Create a buffer for your plants against common toxins in the soil. And control pH levels and support essential bacterial growth. It's more than just compost. It's food for your soil. Northwest Greenland's a Recology company. In McMinnville at 2200 Northeast Orchard Avenue. Call Recology Northwest Greenlands at 503-434-1671. 503-434-1671. Recology Northwest Greenlands, a proud sponsor of To the Root of It on KLYC.
Kid, this facility is like a ship. So how do I keep us on course without micromanaging every detail? Easy, with Grainger. Grainger's online tools help give me the visibility I need. I can shop, order, and manage all our activity. Oversee purchases, control costs, all while you guys get to order what you need when you need it. I run a tight ship, kid. I run it with Grainger. Get it? Got it? Good. Learn more at Grainger.com/online purchasing. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Online Northwest is your gateway to the planet. Online Northwest is Yamhill County's only locally owned and operated internet and phone service provider. Online Northwest, downtown McMinnville, has been providing local friendly service and support since 1997. Residential and business services include high-speed internet, phone, fiber solutions, web design and hosting, co-location, television, and much more. Online Northwest coverage areas include parts of Washington, Yamhill, Polk, Marion, and Tillamook counties. Call Online Northwest at 503-883-9200 or visit them at onlinenw.com for more information. Online Northwest is the internet and phone service provider for KLYC Radio.
And we are back. You're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM, streaming on Facebook, and we're talking about seed germination and the problems that, well, we've been having this year, but particularly the most common problems that we have.
Yeah.
And the reason that we need to discuss this quickly is because here in Yamhill County, we're running out of time to get those seeds started, particularly, let's say, a tomato. If you haven't started your tomato, a little late for that. But anything with a 60 to 80 day, you're wanting to get those seeds now.
Yeah.
In the ground.
I got something in the mail that had a package of beefsteak
tomatoes.
Beefsteak tomato seeds. I'll get the whole sentence out in a minute. And they're like 120 days to germination.
Not germination, to completion. Right.
To completion. And I went, wait, it's like 4 months. So if I start them now, June, July, August, September, I'm gone.
Not even going to be here.
I'm not even going to be in the neighborhood.
And that's why we buy the seed starts from, let's say, the community garden, or the Yamhill County Master Gardener's plant sale, and that's because they've had months to grow, and that's what you're looking at for that start, because there's no telling what October is going to bring. It's usually rainy, cruddy, and the conditions for tomatoes ripening at that point are horrible. So you don't want to. So the other things that we're looking at that actually have a time period, a time frame that you want to have it in there. Let's see. Pumpkins. You should be there on. If they're not the big giant pumpkins, you can start those pumpkins in the ground. Squash. It's a good time for that. Turnips, watermelons, these kinds of things. This is pretty much the last time that you can put these things to seed, to germination, and if you're going to be putting them in the ground, a couple of things you want to pay attention to. For is the soil preparation. Something I came across is people putting fresh manure on their soil right now at this time of year, and that's probably a big no-no, because it's just a compost form, and the temperatures in that hot manure are going to bake everything. You're not going to germinate.
It'll cook the seed. Is what it'll do. It
cooks it very well. So fresh manure is supposed to be applied in the fall, so it has time to break down. But you can put some fresh compost, because that's pretty much already broken down. So if you need to, you can put some compost on your ground now. But pay attention to the soil depth. I'm only going to say that 10 more times. Some other things that you need to do to the soil to prepare it, do the chicken scratch thing that
Right.
Sharon has been talking about, and so I bring it up, but just rough edge that soil and to get it in there.
Before we go any further, I want to really publicly thank Ruth and Sharon for covering my old
Aren't they awesome
derriere.
people?
Fabulously entertaining ladies.
Sharon.
Oh man,
Sharon. I hope that she's listening.
I just love her to pieces, and Ruth too.
She had to call the station manager and ask if she was supposed to come in this week. I feel horrible about that. There is no reason that should have happened. But yes, Sharon.
They did
fabulous
a beautiful job.
Big help.
Yeah.
And very insightful. She was not afraid to tell me, Kyle, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And here's why you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Oh no, she'll back it up with real information, not the
exactly.
Not
Good
the
job,
stuff
Ray.
we make up as we go along.
Right. So one of the things that if you're planting them outdoors that you might come into a problem with is birds and squirrels stealing your seeds.
Yes.
Because you're not planting them so deep, they'll come across and do this. And birds,
they can pick seeds out, and you never even know they've been there.
Don't even know that.
Nah, they just go along, and they can tell the difference between a grain of sand and a seed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they just go right through and pick stuff up. And they'll even pick out little seedlings sometimes if they're just really tender, and there it went.
Yeah, because they like the small little green shoots, and it's more nutrients. So if you experience this problem, you're going to want to just reseed, and then, if necessary, cover the crop with netting of some kind. That's good advice. But this is usually a problem, particularly with the birds and the squirrels, is with the bigger seeds, the beans and the peas and the corn. That's more what they're looking for. They're not really scratching for those radish or carrot seeds, I don't think.
Yeah, and a lot of you just need to have patience. If it doesn't germinate in 5.2 days, it doesn't mean necessarily that you got bad seed. Maybe it's going to germinate like in 7.6 days.
But if it's been 5.2 weeks, chances are it's not going to germinate, because some of these things, and I can't even. Some of these things
then
took 2 weeks to germinate, but that seemed like the longest. If you were looking at anything more than 21 days to germinate, it might be like a spruce tree or something like that. But if it isn't done in 2 weeks,
most of it,
at least one of the 4,000 seeds you plant, they should germinate. But I had that problem with one of my tomato seeds that I've had for a few years. The seeds themselves are like 4 years old.
Oh, they're probably.
And so this year they were not. Last year I had about a 50% success rate. This year a 0% success rate.
Well, it's time to just dump them.
I know, and then I have more room to put more seeds in my little filing bin, because when I store my seeds, they're in clear plastic bags. They used to be Ziploc bags, but now we've transitioned to actual seed plastic bags, and I can write on them and put the year and the date and just put them in just an easy little box to manage.
Well, unless you have an absolutely perfectly climate-controlled seed storage system, like in a mountain in Norway or something, you know.
In a refrigerator in a mountain in Norway,
yeah,
right?
Right. A couple of years is about your optimums.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3 years for some seed, but then you want to go ahead and test it, and put a couple out in a wet paper towel and see if they will sprout. Mm-hmm. And you can actually count them out, and like count out 20 seeds with a pair of tweezers, and get a percentage of germination rate.
Right, exactly.
And if it's under 50%.
What's it worth to you?
Yeah, right. What's it worth? Go ahead and spring for $1.49 and get a new package of seed. Or start over.
Go to the plant sale and just
go
get
to
the
starts.
starts.
Yeah, and get the starts.
Yeah. So that's the germination problems. And your
well, this is the 1st of May. We need to start talking about what else we can do.
What are there things that we can do in May also?
Yes.
Because when I was going through the May calendar, and that's available at extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill. The Master Gardener, not just the OSU gardening calendar, things to do in May.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 5 pages on this printout,
It's like,
four of
holy
which are pest control.
It's slug picking season.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was really great. I went to a friend's house down in Portland, and he had these little beer traps set out right next to his peppers that he's put out right now.
Good for him.
And I know, and the way that he has them set out, so he's got the beer cans, and the tops are taken off with a can opener, and in the side, he's taken the side, the middle part out a little bit, and then he stuck it in the ground, and he's able to pour the beer in there, so the slugs just go right in there. No success with it yet so far, but it looks exceptional. It looks really good. But where he has them also, I don't know if slugs are going to be crawling up, over, and around. We'll see. But he's got protection there, and it's the beer trap method that he's using. But one of those pest control things that need to happen right now, because he was talking about seeing the big ones now.
Yeah, they're out there, folks.
Not just the banana ones, but the gray ones are at about 3 inches right now.
Yeah, if you live near any kind of a little forest, the timber slugs are coming to town.
Oh, that sounds so frightening. It's like Sharknado or something.
Yeah. Ooh, you can hear them crawling across the deck heading for the cat food.
Yeah. And I say this now, and so I'm only jinxing myself, but you need to be monitoring for aphids on strawberries and ornamentals.
Yep.
And my roses are booming right now, and I haven't seen the aphids. That's me knocking on wood.
Yet.
And I haven't seen any aphids yet. And
Really?
Right. I'm so happy about it. But I should, because I've got these gorgeous roses right now. How are your roses? You got any roses?
I have one rose bush, and only one rose bush. I have been through my rose phase, where I went hog nuts.
Just Ray's way of saying that's a cute thing you have going on right now, Kyle. But you will get over it.
Yeah, you'll get by it.
It's cute.
Couple of more years of never mind.
But your roses, are they?
I have one rose, and it was given to me as a gift, and I've carted it around. It's on its third house now, and it's never disappointed me. And it's the most gorgeous triple peach colored, yellow, peach, and pink. It's really a cute little rose.
Sounds like a sunset.
Yeah, that might be what it's called. Or welcome home or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's a very durable rose. Nice. And every year the deer come along and they just eat it down to stubs. And then when I realize that the deer have eaten it down to stubs, I throw the bird netting over it and it comes back.
Yeah. Yep. So you use the bird net for these kinds of things.
It's getting the bird net today.
And so one of these other things that are out there are the spittle bugs. And
them I've seen.
Yep, they are
everywhere
out there. One of the greatest phenomenon that I never knew about until I moved to the Pacific Northwest. But these are going to be on the stems, and in most cases,
leaf crotches.
And it's because what is it? It's the leavings of a little.
Well, there's a little green bug in there, and it's I don't know what it actually turns into or whether that's all it does. But the spittle part is it's protective. If an enemy goes and tries to eat the bug, the spittle part is nasty tasting. I've never sucked on a spittlebug, not yet.
Right, because that just doesn't even sound appealing. But
no, I'm assuming that
it doesn't hurt. Is the important thing? It looks interesting for me. If you see a spittlebug thing, it's like, okay, that's cool, and it doesn't hurt the plant at all.
No.
But if it bothers you, just rinse them off with water and insecticidal soap. Easy things to take care of for that. But I don't consider them a pest.
Yeah, if you blow the spittle part away, then the poor bug dries out and he's dead anyway.
That sounds horrible. So you can also just
so
it's just like
you can flick him.
Just
yeah.
Good job. However, these cabbage worms in cabbage and cauliflower, those are coming up right now, and so you want to take care of those. You've also got the 12-spotted cucumber beetles in the beans and lettuce. I've got my radishes are just. They themselves are not decimated, but the leaves around them, they got a lot of holes in them. Lots
that's
of holes.
Probably slug damage. That's just little bitty, tiny brown slugs. The ones that are like half as big as your thumbnail, brown slugs. Yeah. They eat a lot.
I don't see them. Where are they?
They're underneath leaves, and they can get underneath one piece of bark dust and be safe all day.
It's the bark dust.
Yeah, if you've got
You were gone for this, but I'm on a mission this year. Like I wasn't on a mission before because I would always listen to you talking about your slug stories. I'm like, okay, Ray, whatever. But now I want to kill. I want to kill.
Yeah.
And I want to hunt.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill.
Take a leaf rake and brush your bark dust and just refresh it by turning it over, and that'll help cut down and dry out the slug eggs that are hiding underneath the bark dust.
I'm going to buy a little rake now. I need a little rake for
just
that.
a broom rake.
Yep.
Yeah, just go out and spritz it up. That helps cut down on the egg population.
Yep, and so you're going to want to prevent root maggots. Wouldn't you always want to prevent root maggots? And again, we're reading from the monthly calendar located at extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill. And so these root maggots, particularly cabbage, broccoli, and collards, all you have to do is cover them with screens, because these pests float in the air. And if you just have a piece of plastic over your broccoli or over your cabbage, these things will just move on. They'll go away, and so you don't have these problems with the root maggots.
Yeah. Another thing is, and it's almost too late to do this, is get a yellow jacket trap out.
I planted 7 of them around my garden.
You done good.
And I'm hoping they're filled. With some yellow jackets particularly. I haven't seen as many. I got to empty them and do that again. But yeah, I took your advice, and back at the end of January, I think we did a show on it, and that's when I talked about doing that. And I've got a low yellow jacket in my garden area. The field and the forest, they're probably all over the place.
Yeah, they can be out there, but they won't be within 100 yards of your garden.
Exactly, that's what we're hoping for.
And that's the good part.
Yep.
Time to start monitoring for moles and gophers.
Oh, and how? Gosh, I know.
Start dusting off the traps. Get them ready to start reading the directions so you don't
on the traps, right?
Yeah, so you don't trap your big toe.
Some of those rodent aisles in the stores are now as big as the plant aisles. It's a big business. Let's get rid of these rodents. My moles, I've got a vole that's taken up a station inside my garden. I see the hole, and the little grass area is notched around where it is. And I got to get one of those traps to take care of this thing, because when my garden is in full swing, where it is right by my gooseberries, and I don't want it touching my gooseberries.
The dog has taken up mole digging.
Do it.
Bless her heart.
Do it.
She got after the moles and gophers in New Mexico and would take a little bitty 3-inch hole and turn that sucker into a 1.5 wide pit.
Okay, but then you gotta dig, you gotta fill those holes back up. So it does become a little bit of a problem. Let's take a final break right now.
Alrighty.
When we come back, we'll close some things up, and that's what we'll do. So right now you're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM. We're also streaming on Facebook.
Hi, this is Denise Stoutenberg, and I'm excited to say about the Cherrywood Memory Care. As no two people are alike, no memory care communities are the same. Each has its own personality and philosophy. At the Cherrywood, we believe that life doesn't just happen. Life is what we make it. It's our goal to assist our residents to live an active life filled with joy and happiness. If you are looking for exceptional memory care in a serene residential location, we invite you to experience the uniqueness of the Cherrywood. For more information or to schedule a visit, please call 503-857-0338.
Want a t-shirt design that fits you and your business or organization? Try Devo's Custom Screen Printing in McMinnville. Devo's Screen Printing designed the KLYC glow-in-the-dark tie-dye t-shirt, and they did a great job. If you want personal service with someone who will do everything they can to provide you the best shirts possible, the best design, and at a price you can afford, it's Devo's Custom Screen Printing. They're the KLYC screen printer of choice, and we highly recommend their work. Call them at 503-857-2396. 857-2396. Devo's Custom Screen Printing, McMinnville. We have waited for summer weather for months, and now it's time to head down the road. But before you do, check your brakes. If they need work, take advantage of an up to $50 rebate on rotors or pads at Davison Auto Parts. Castrol GTX conventional motor oil, just $3.79 a quart. Castrol high mileage motor oil, only $4.59 a quart. Save right now on Super Clean Cleaner Degreaser, brake fluid, and much more. Cool off with instant savings up to $35 on Napa Complete Air Conditioning Kits. Davison Auto Parts, getting you ready for the road. McMinnville, Sheridan, Mahama, Reedsport, Carlton, Tillamook, Monmouth, and Staten.
Here on KLYC 1260 AM, and we're going to close things off here. We're coming up at the end of the show, 9:56 right now. What do you think the temperature is outside right now? Could you even imagine? 76 degrees. When we started the show, it was 70.
Right now?
It's now 76 degrees in McMinnville.
Oh, sweet.
So just within the hour, 5 degrees going up.
One bug that we didn't
degrees.
talk about that we need to talk about.
Oh, because we're going to be talking about these pests.
Yeah, the
Get it in there, Ray.
The spotted wing Drosophila.
Oh, we monitor this thing.
Yep, the new bad boy
fruit
fly.
The old bad boy, yeah.
He's and
so this thing comes up, it decimates our crops.
Yep.
Tell the preach, right? Tell the public what they
you
need
can
to
go
know.
to your extension office and you can get directions on how to make a trap to find these little guys. And they're, as you look at them under a magnifying glass, the tip of each wing has a black spot on it, hence the name spotted wing Drosophila.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got them, then you can call up the extension office and get some help with how to get rid of them.
I say, I got them. Because they want to get rid of them.
I got it.
These things are, and the SWD.
They're evil.
We call them SWD because the spotted wing is just difficult to say. So these things are, you want to monitor your blueberry, your raspberry, your strawberry, and
any soft-bodied fruit.
Soft fruits, because it's not the moth itself, it's the larva that the eggs that they plant inside these soft fruits. Oh man, have you seen these underneath a microscope? These are just like small little white rice larva things that are just coming out. So crops decimation, nothing you can do after they've laid at these things.
The evil part is that it doesn't destroy the outside of the fruit. You look at your cherry, your blueberry, your strawberry, and you pop that sucker into your mouth, and it tastes nasty because there's nothing inside of it but bug poo.
Yes, exactly. Fruit-laden bug poo, but bug poo nonetheless.
Maybe a little graphic for radio, but
nah, not at all.
Yeah, they're evil.
Okay. So anyway, so one of those other things that we should be thinking about, and we'll talk about on the next show, is irrigation.
Yeah, we got
because, like I said, driving through the county, the farmers are out there doing it right now. So it's something that you should probably have in mind. And last week, that's what I spent my weekend doing, was setting up an irrigation. And this week I spent problem shooting all the things that I did wrong setting up that irrigation. So we can talk about that next week.
I'm going to go home and turn the valve on and see which way the water shoots.
I was saying, let that dust clear out.
I may have to replace a head or two. I think they were
frozen, a little bit of frost.
Well, there was one that was starting to leak last year, and so
that's where I am. I have leaks galore, whether it was proper tightening, not enough washers.
Well,
whatever.
luckily you can just dig a little hole around it, and on mine you just unscrew it from the pipe if the pipe ain't badly busted, and it's just the head. You just unscrew the head and go over to.
No, that sounds great. No, mine, my brother and I built, so it has far more problems than just doing that. So it's I've got. We're going to get into it next week.
We'll do that next week.
So
y'all come back next week, folks.
Yeah, you got to hear about this.
You're going to hear some whining.
So right now, thanks for listening. You've been listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM. We've been streaming on Facebook, so like us on Facebook, KLYC Radio. And then if you've missed any of this, we're also right there up on YouTube. Just search KLYC to The Root of It. And today's date. So, Ray, thank you for coming back. You come back next week?
Yes, I will. You all come back, too. We'll see you next week, or we'll talk to you next week.
And as my friend Ray always says,
keep your tools sharp.